talking about delivery. What are some of the concerns that, in your view, should come up in these conversations?
You know, we are observing what has happened in government the past few years. I think that we should be careful not to always emphasize much on the grand talk about policy. The reason being that when I look at what happened, actually I think we have had challenges even before we implemented policy. I think the bigger problem lies actually at that pre-implementation phase. For example, look at the question of education is one of the things that will be talked about. My concern with education is that we fail even before we come to implementation of the education policy. The question of the books, for example, is it a policy matter or not? For me, it's a simple question of the capacity of the bureaucracy to even implement policies, because if we are not careful, we are going to come up with grand policies, and such policies we will not sustain the implementation to an extent where we can even say that now we have implemented this, let us evaluate them. Usually we go not even a quarter way through implementation of policy. The bigger job now that needs to be done, it's about the bureaucracy.
When you say capacity, sorry to interject, when you say capacity of the bureaucracy, does this mean the skills of the people in the bureaucracy to work, or is it the numbers of the bureaucracy? Is it the structure? Where does capacity speak to?
It goes both to the capacity in terms of the numbers and also how it is being structured as well. And the skills, the technical know-how of people who are involved. There are areas where you could say that someone just need to do their job. It's not a policy issue. It's just a simple question of showing up. And I think that talks to the ethics in the public service.
So what should the delegates say here? What should they say about ethics in the public service, people showing up, structure of the bureaucracy? What should they be saying?
They need to come up with a framework where there are going to be consequences in the public service. Those who do not show up to work, lack of discipline when it comes to public servants doing their duties, that has to be looked at, along their discussions of policy, I think.
Yeah. What are some of the other issues? I mean, capacity of the bureaucracy to deliver on promises undertaken. What about the capacity of the bureaucracy, job creation? Most of the time, people looking for jobs, they look to the state to say, unblock this, unlock that, enable this, create this kind of scope and opportunity. What should be said about that here?
Again, when it comes to the question of job creation, you look at the work that has been done by the National Planning Commission, for example, that we need the public service that is quite abled. We cannot lose an opportunity where we spend a lot of money in the public service, then we have a lax attitude in the public service. If we are going to convince the private sector to work hard in tandem with government in creating jobs, the public service has to operate to 100% capacity. We spend a lot of money in the public service through your expanded public works program, but a lot of it goes to waste. We need to tie down on accountability as well. We need to work on a sense of, we need to say that we cannot lose any cent in the public service, because as we speak, the global environment is such that we do not have much leeway to create jobs in the private sector.
So that means dealing with corruption as well?
Exactly, very much important. People should not go into the public service knowing that, no, I just want to park there is nothing that's been done. We need to have excellence in the public service. We need to drive that.
Ralph Mathekga, thank you very much. Ralph Mathekga is a political analyst with some insight about some of the deliberations as they affect the state bureaucracy and what should be said inside there.